welcome to the Hockenheimring in the valley of the river Rhine. It is, and we're a little bit late with the broadcast. Had some slight technical issues, but we're back online, and it's Jan Nims on pole position ahead of Abdelhadi by 2.5 tenths of a second. Then it's Italianos, Mendelis, Rachmanian. They're all within a tenth of each other, actually. And Simon Speff comes up in 6th position and 6 tenths down from pole he is. So a bit of a gap to the lead, but the gaps after that are very, very tiny. The top 5 will be reversed for race number 2. But race number 1, it's gonna be Jan Nims once again on pole at another one of his home events in Germany. In the M235i car.
Oh, we have a nice glitch. It appears it went suddenly very dark in the Nordschleife circuit. Not sure if that's only the visuals that we receive, or it's the same for everyone. Or I remember we had one time.
Again. Yep, we've had it once. I think it was at Road Atlanta, and yep. It's gonna set and come back up again. I think the sun's been almost fixed. Nope, not really. So we're gonna have half a night race, half a day race here from the Hockenheimring. And the cars are off. Jan Nims leads us away from the line. Somebody has a jump start penalty. I think that's somebody further down the field. Here we go, down into turn 1. Jan Nims leads ahead of Abdelhadi. Mendelis into 2nd, and he's going to try and get into 3rd. Actually, now into 2nd. Speff around and spun round, hit a few times as well. Matthias Mendelis up to 2nd place off the line. Brilliant start by him as the sun sets once again. Oh, somebody else off the road.
Was
Lapo, yep, Lapo right off the road. Simon Speff in 14th.
Oh, another car has spun around. If the drivers see the same visuals that we do, that might have distracted them slightly.
Yep, that's definitely possible. Jan Nims into the braking zone. Matthias Mendelis getting very, very close. This is an opportunity to overtake into that hairpin. Big braking zone, and you can try and outbrake someone there. Abdelhadi actually very, very close to Mendelis, closer than Mendelis is to Nims, so Abdelhadi can think of a move here. Remember, in qualifying, these guys were super duper close. Italianos, Rachmanian as well, so we'll see if the race pace continues like that. Actually, Mendelis catches up just a little bit, 0.5 of a second now, the gap for the lead as they come up to the end of Sector 2. Now starting Sector 3, the final sector of this lap, and this is going to be interesting. Into that hairpin, off the road, and gives that position up to Italianos. Maybe not. A little bit of a contact, a little bit of a touch to the outside of the hairpin, but I think Abdelhadi's just about going to hold on to that final podium position. But now it's definitely a freeway battle. Grosjean in there as well.
Yep, so Grosjean did have a very nice race start. He started 8th, he's running 6th now. Simon Speff.
That's Italianos going down the inside of Abdelhadi, and I think he's going to make it down into turn 1. Not a place you often see many overtakes, but he got it done actually down the front straight away. And now Italianos will be under pressure, defends the inside just a little bit, but it will all be unraveled as they head into the hairpin.
Grosjean in a battle with Rachmanian. Novopolski has just completed his drive-through penalty and is back on the racetrack. This is a sprint race, so that's basically race done for Novopolski. Niskansen is standing in the pit lane. I think he was the driver who received a little bit of damage as Grosjean.
Battle ahead, Italianos versus Abdelhadi as well. Still going on. Abdelhadi couldn't get that move completed. He tried it down the inside, but it wasn't enough. Italianos held the momentum through the hairpin. Now into the braking zone for Mercedes. Italianos maybe looking a little bit skittish. He's not hitting the apexes as he might want to sometimes. That's where he loses the time to Abdel Hadi behind. Flash of the lights by Abdel Hadi. He's under pressure from Rahmanian. Grajis has dropped off a little bit from this trio. A bit of damage to the side of Talianos' car.
Simon Speth tries to recover together with Lapo after the first lap incident. They are currently 8th, 9th, and there is the move by Simon Speth. It looks like Yuri Lapo just made a small mistake, which was more than enough for Simon Speth to grab that spot.
Lapo off the road, I think.
Yep.
At least big slide.
And look at the car of Simon Speth. It has definitely seen a lot of racing action. I'm not sure if that was caused during that accident in the first corners, but that car doesn't look in one piece, so that's gonna be a very difficult race for Simon Speth. I'm pretty sure he would like to aim for P5 at this stage to try and grab the pole position, but yeah, 6 seconds behind Essa and even more to P5.
Yeah, almost 9 seconds to P5. Actually more, 10 seconds to P5. He'd have to be catching a second a minute, and with a damaged car, that doesn't look to be possible. Jan Nim's half a second quicker than Matas Mendeles on that last lap.
Yep, that's basically game over for Matas Mendeles in the battle for P1, but currently Matas Mendeles is in a battle with Simon Speth and Talianos, actually, because Speth is second in the standings, Talianos is third, and Matas Mendeles is currently fourth in the championship. But Mendeles took part only in 3 races, while his rivals have competed in all the previous races. This is a 6-round championship, and only 5 rounds count towards the overall results of the drivers. So Matas Mendeles is basically in a battle with Simon Speth at this stage, as it seems. And Talianos is currently trying his best to try and chase down Matas Mendeles. He's already 1.5 seconds ahead of Rahmani and Abdel Hadi, 2 drivers battling each other for, well, they are not battling for provisional pole position, they are battling for 4th place, but whoever of these drivers will finish behind, meaning they will start first in the second sprint race.
But there's still Grajis, who's in 6th. He's still a possibility as he tries it down the inside, doesn't work.
Yeah, he came from very far behind, and it looks like it's not the way to make those moves happen, though. I don't know, was it a later break point or a missed braking point, but it looked a little bit more dangerous than an overtake attempt.
He tried something, but that something clearly, I think he's maybe actually more confident on the brakes because he catches up again. Loses some time though on the exit as the drivers start to fan out, at least a little bit.
Yep.
Getting a little bit bigger,
Simon Speth has lost to Yuri Lapo again, so it looks like the damage to the car has not a very good outcome for the inputs for the driver, and it looks like he's just struggling to keep that car on the racetrack, so that's gonna be a very hard race for Simon Speth, and he'll also have to start from almost the back of the pack in the second race, but good news for Simon Speth, he will have a complete car in his hands with no damage whatsoever, so he will try to recover at least in the second race.
Yep, he'll have a shot at it during the second race, but I think a pretty difficult situation for him. He'll have to recover many spots wants to get any good points out of this weekend. But Grajis still on the back of Abdel Hadi, and that's the closest gap in the whole of the top 6. as Jan Nims continues to extend his lead. Here's Speff on Lapo once again.
Side by side, takes the inside of the corner. This is turn number 2, which leads to 3 and 4, and we head out to the longest straight of the racetrack, which is not completely straight. It constantly turns to the left side, but the drivers keep holding that pedal to the floor, and it's basically a drag straight, and you can see how much of speed Simon Speth is losing due to the damage for the BMW, and there's nothing he can do to defend against Juri Lapo, who just passes him by down the straight into turn 6, which is the hairpin of the track. So the slowest corner on the racetrack follows after the longest straight on the circuit, and Juri Lapo, he misses those apexes but still is able to hold in front of Simon Speth, but not for long it seems. Simon Speth takes the inside line, so Simon Speth needs to think about being very precise in the arena section of the track to try and build some gap against Juri Lapo, to have that safe space between him and his rival to not be overtaken down that long straight. So he's currently ahead, but only by 4/10. Runs a little bit wide through turns 15 and 16. On the main straight. Now the first corner, it's a very fast right-hander, and it's the point on the track where the tires get a lot of scrubbing with the asphalt, and they can come really hot, so the drivers need to be a little bit more careful into turns 2, 3 and 4, and then the tires cool off a little bit on the very long straight of the circuit. Let's see how much speed does Simon Speth lose down this straight. He has 5/10 advantage against Juri Lapo, but he will definitely not reach the top speeds that the BMW of Juri Lapo is capable of. But it looks like this time he's in a safe zone. And actually lost not too much, only 1/10 running down that straight. So Simon Speth should keep his head down for the remaining minutes of this race to try and stay ahead of Lapo to gather as many points as possible. We have a new point system which reflects the pointing system in modern days in Formula 1 racing, for example, where you get 25 points for P1 and 1 point for P10. So Simon Speth is looking at 4 points at this moment, and if he loses that spot, he will receive only 2 points. So basically, in other words, every position counts nowadays with that new pointing system on the World Sim Series platform. And it's definitely worth fighting for, because if you look at the final results of the championship, you want to get as many points as possible, even with a heavily damaged car, as Jan Nims currently is forced to drive, but not for long, only 3 minutes and 10 seconds on the clock, so the nightmare will be shortly over, and Simon Speth will receive a second chance, because the second sprint race will start right after the finish of the first one, maybe with a short break. Anyone who didn't hear at the beginning of the broadcast, because we had a small technical issues, we are racing on the Hockenheim circuit in Germany. It's a very famous track with a slightly changed configuration. I believe that happened was it maybe 20 years ago or so?
Yeah, about 20 years ago. Even more, 2002 was when the circuit was redesigned, and it went from essentially a straight with a chicane sometimes to a very, very technical racetrack. So completely changed the circuit. But that had to be done to comply with the current safety regulations.
Oh yeah, it was very tight, fast, and had those chicane type of corners, mostly in the forest part of the track, which is abandoned at this moment. If you go and search for pictures for the old Hockenheimring, it definitely doesn't look as it used to be in the past, almost like an abandoned place, right on the side of a working racetrack. Hockenheimring is currently 4.5 kilometers long as Simon's Path goes wide again. Juri Lapo has to back out of it because Simon's Path, well, he managed to shut the door on the exit for Juri Lapo, and it was not the place where the move has been completed. I think we are on the final lap actually, as these two continue their battles, and that's going to be a very difficult job for Simon's Path to keep in front of Juri Lapo running down that long straight. Though it looks like Juri Lapo didn't have a lot of practice laps before this event, because he keeps on driving a little bit too fast into the corners and doesn't create himself a very nice exit out of them. And it looks like Simon's Path will keep his position at this point, though Juri Lapo goes for it into the hairpin corner, tries to take that inside line. He was a little bit too far behind. And no worries for Simon's Path. He managed to nicely shut the doors, and Juri Lapo had to modulate the brakes a little bit harder than he would have liked to, as Jan Nims completes the final part of the racetrack around the Sachs turn corner into Südkurve, and to take that checkered flag of the first race. And the domination of the German driver continues throughout the season. We've seen Grantas Karetkas as a guest in this championship. He managed to compete with Jan Nims, but it looks like it's a very difficult task for everyone else remaining in the championship. Talianos takes P2, Mendel is third, Rahmanian fourth. I believe
Abdelhadi should finish fifth with
no,
Grosjean.
No, Abdelhadi. Yep, Abdelhadi took the fifth place. Grosjean finished sixth, and let's try and get the
about Abdelhadi, because he's. I'm looking at the timing screens on.
Oh no, he's losing places.
Series.
Yep, you are right. So maybe he ran out of fuel, because as I looked at the results and he was still fifth, but now he's losing places and he's already P10.
Yep, you can see that he's in the pits and he's a lap behind, and on the WorldSimSeries.com timing screen he's dropping, so he's gonna be down in 12th, I believe.
Yep. So
as soon as everybody takes the flag.
Maybe he ran out of fuel on the final lap and he was forced to go back into the pit lane by towing the car. Anyways, the pole position went into the hands of Grosjean, who had a very nice race this afternoon, and he will try to have an even better one, as he will start first. Rahmanian second, Talianos third, Mendel is fourth, and Jan Nims will start the race from P5. As a sixth, Simon's Path managed to take that seventh spot, so well, he raced for P8 but finished seventh because of that unfortunate moment for Abdelhadi. Lapo 8th, Glocksnes 9th, Ajordage 10th, Niskanen 11th, and Abdelhadi 12th, with Novopolsky 13th and Flanagan. I think he has just joined the race. He is being marked as finishing in P14.
He started the race and had an incident on lap 1, and I believe he disconnected, so maybe he came back and he still wants to do race 2.
Yep, so hopefully we will see all the drivers on the racetrack for the second race, as I think we have a short breathing moment for the drivers to relax a little bit, tune their setups, which is basically a locked setup with only a couple of options left open for the drivers, so maybe they want to tune it a little bit to have a better second race. And we will be rolling with the second race of the 5th round of the Premium Sprint Challenge. Soon after the finish of the Premium Sprint Challenge second race, we will have the Premium Endurance Challenge starting on the same track with the BMWs and another GT3 car for this round. This time it's gonna be the BMW Z4 GT3 car for the drivers to rock on the German racetrack.
So second race, Grosjean, well, he's lucked into a pole position for the next one.
Yep, that's gonna be a nice experience for the driver to try and lead the pack. Well, sometimes it works out because the leaders, if they have a good race start and the drivers behind get involved in some sort of battles, so the lucky drivers who start from pole sometimes have the ability to finish first in the races, just if they avoid doing mistakes and have the capability of leading a race without making mistakes. And we're about to find out how it's gonna go for the reverse top 5 drivers in the second race of the 5th round. Penultimate round, by the way, in the Sprint Challenge and Endurance Challenge on the World Sim Series platform, as we are about to enter the winter season. And we will definitely be waiting for some new championships as this will finish. Oh,
that's definitely a false start.
Yep.
And that's going to be a drive-through penalty for Grosjean.
It's actually stop and go 30 seconds penalty, so that's basically race done. Well, he will have the ability to enjoy the leading at least for one lap. As Matas Mendelis did have a really nice start. Jan Nims remains P5. Mendelis already into attack, into turns 2, 3 and 4. Around the outside he tries and he'll take the inside line. So I think that's one place done for Matas Mendelis. Jan Nims right behind him and running side by side with Rahmanian with a better run than his rival. Jan Nims already through. The next car is Simon Speth. Well, the crew managed to do a decent job, and well, maybe they took a new car. Matas Mendelis dives.
Trying something, but I think it's more about defending the inside. Actually, he gets through because Talianos gets stuck behind Grosjean, and now it's Rahmanian who's trying to come back through. Nims has dropped positions. He was on the outside coming into the hairpin. Speth back into it, almost by pure magic. And Speth, that's Nims actually trying something down the inside. Mendelis holds on, and I think he's got the position just about.
And this is the battle for the lead. This is actually the battle for the lead.
Because Grosjean will have to serve that stop-and-go penalty, and that will drop him way, way down. And ahead of Speth, you can see Nims versus Rahmanian versus Talianos.
Oh, and Talianos is like on fire. Those tires are cold, and on every corner Talianos goes very wide and very deep into the corners.
Big slide as he tries to hold on to that position. Still to the outside is Talianos, can't do anything. Still to the outside, they're still side by side. Grosjean stays out for one more lap as Mendelis is through. So Grosjean will act like almost a block behind Mendelis here. And Rahmanian into third, Nims up into fourth because Talianos dropped that position. Can Speth now find anything against Talianos in front?
Talianos had a very decent first race, but he didn't have a very nice opening lap for the second race. It looked like he was all over the place on every corner, and even though he had the second position for a short moment of time, he managed to make those tiny mistakes, and as the cars are really close to each other at the opening laps, it's really dangerous to make those small mistakes happen as Jan Nims tries to go around Rahmanian. Rahmanian tries to get back into the inside, into the hairpin, Jan Nims tries to get back.
I think, well, it's going to be tight with him losing that position, but he didn't defend the inside. Gave that opportunity for Rahmanian, who goes back up into P3. So Nims, he's going to try and come back at him here into Mercedes on the brakes. But Rahmanian on the outside, he's got the better grip. He's got the better line now into the right-hander. Back ahead goes Rahmanian. Nims now under pressure from Italianos once again, so can't get through the field quickly. This is playing into the hands of Matas Mendeles right now.
Yep, so nice opening lap for Matas Mendeles. He did the best job of them all as Simon Speth takes a look into the inside of the hairpin. That's turn number 12 and runs side by side with Italianos. Italianos is
still
already
trying to hold that inside line through. There's Nims going down the inside of Rahmanian. They almost touch as Grosje's down into the pits for his penalty. Big slide there from Rahmanian. This is going to be 3 or 4 wide even coming down into turn 1. Italianos on the outside. That's not the place you want to be. In the middle is Rahmanian, and through goes Speth brilliantly down the inside. He's capitalized on that. Lapo now into that battle. Abdelhadi now into that battle as well as they get onto the brakes for turn number 2 here.
Wise move by Abdelhadi. He braked slightly earlier than all the drivers ahead, and he made himself a situation where he has the best exit out of turn 4. Managed to go around Lapo, and he's already looking into the back bumper of Rahmanian. These two drivers battled each other in the first race. They continue to battle in the second one, as Italiano tries to hold on to that 4th spot. But
oh, big incident. Somebody actually was, I guess, too early on the brakes, and just a big collision. And now that's Lapo trying to get up into 4th place against Italianos, who holds on to 4th for the time being. Onto the brakes, Lapo getting very close. This is a brilliant battle to watch. By the way, Nims 2.8 behind the lead of Matas Mendeles, so he'll have to hold on for these next 10 minutes of this race.
Well, he has the pace to do it, but I'm not sure if he'll make it on time. Matas Mendeles is not the driver. He's not famous for making mistakes in situations like these, so I'm pretty sure he will try to hold on to that lead for as long as possible, even though we know that Jan Nims has got the pace, though currently Matas Mendeles was 1.7 seconds faster on the previous lap time, as Jan Nims was involved in those huge battles on the racetrack with his rivals. There we go. The pace has matched out currently. Maybe Matas Mendeles has found a little bit more pace than he had in the first race. So it's looking pretty strong for the driver from Lithuania, who is actually battling for P2 in the overall standings. I'm not sure if Jan Nims is reachable for any of the drivers behind. He has 175 points in the championship, with Simon Speth 118 points being the second one in the standings. So
we still got that drop round as well, so
yeah, but
take that into account.
I think with the new point system it will not play that big of a role, but yeah, let's wait for the last round and see how it goes. But we have to deal with this penultimate round first, and Jan Nims starts his charge towards Matas Mendeles, but the gap is down to 2.7 seconds. It's actually up to 2.8 seconds. I'm trying to find the lap times of the first race. So the fastest lap time in the first race was 1 minute 52.5 by Jan Nims. The fastest lap time by Matas Mendeles was 1 minute 52.8. So Matas Mendeles managed to find a little bit more pace in the second race, and Jan Nims is currently slightly slower than he was in the first one. With gaps like these, it looks like Matas Mendeles has everything in his hands to finish off this race in P1. He did the most brilliant job on the opening laps as Abdelhadi and Rahmanian swap places, because Rahmanian has just had a X-Course on the off-track through the grass of the Hockenheimring and runs into the clashes of Essa. A driver we haven't seen before today, and this is the first time we get this car on our cameras, and I can tell you one thing: this is my favorite paint job all over the grid. This is the car in the same colors as Jeff Gordon has raced on NASCAR Series in the past, and I can tell you one thing: it looks really beautiful on that BMW, at least for me. I don't know, maybe that's sentiments to the past, but I really enjoy seeing paint jobs like these on the championship.
Yep, a very, very nice car by Essa.
And he's currently 8th. He finished 6th in the first race, so he did really well, avoided crashes, and took all the opportunities to finish as high as possible. He's currently 8th, but we still have 5.5 minutes on the clock, so a couple of laps for the drivers to complete. As the lead of Matas Mendeles goes down even more to 2.4 seconds. It was 2.3 seconds, so the battle is definitely not over. But well, the best that Jan Nims can do at this stage is just keep that pressure on Matas Mendeles, and look, it looks like it's working because Matas Mendeles went slightly slower on the previous lap, and he's out of the 52 zone with a lap time of 1 minute 53.1, so 3/10 off. Still not enough, but the pressure is on, and that can mean one thing: the driver ahead, he can lose focus, lose concentration, while seeing the driver behind getting closer and closer to you with every corner, which plays a good mind game, and the driver can lose concentration for a bit. So small mistakes. I think the battle for the lead is still not over, though we know that Matas Mendeles is a very consistent driver, but Jan Nims is just that little bit faster.
Yep, so I've run a few calculations, and if it would finish like it is right now, Jan Nims would be crowned champion for sure.
Yep, so another crown for Jan Nims, the driver from Germany. I have to go and see his profile. I think I think there's not enough space on the wall for all the titles that he has achieved, and I think I'm gonna share that with everyone. How the wall of Jan Nims looks on the World Sim Series platform, and we have to make room for yet another title, because I have no doubts Jan Nims will take another trophy to his virtual wall from these successful sim racing championships. This is Talianos and Speth. So Talianos found slightly more pace on the previous laps. It looks like Simon Speth has some issues with his tires, maybe from going slightly too fast in the first corner. As mentioned before, the tires get really hot running down that first corner on the Hockenheimring circuit, and the drivers have to cool them down on the remaining lap, and there goes Talianos.
Very, very late. That was a very late decision, and I think it was more of a decision of, I don't want to hit Speth into the braking zone. They're still going to come through side by side. Clean move, though. Nothing against it. Big cut by Talianos as they go into Mercedes. A bit of a touch in the braking zone, and Talianos goes wide. And Simon Speth keeps that position. But at the end of the day, whatever happens with these two, Nims finishes second. That is, well, if he finishes this race, even if he finished third in this race, it would be enough. So, yeah, Nims definitely in with, he's going to guarantee himself this championship.
Yep, so another trophy up for grabs for the driver from Germany. He's running home in second place, goes for the fastest lap and starts the final lap of the second race. Currently P2, only 2/10 faster on the previous try. Still a little bit faster than Matas Mendelis, putting and keeping that pressure on the shoulders of the Lithuanian driver, who on his own is concentrating to get as best results as he can, to try and battle for at least the second position in the overall standings, as Talianos tries to pick up another position. He finished in front of Speth and he's currently behind him. So these three drivers, Simon Speth, Talianos and Mendelis, are basically the three drivers in the battle for P2, with Simon Speth currently occupying the position in the championship. But with the very, well, not very good results from the first race and slightly better results from the second race, he's not looking that bad to stay in P2. He's currently 18 points ahead of Talianos, a little bit more ahead of Mendelis, but Mendelis has one race less in this championship, so every race counts for the driver from Lithuania. From now on, and if he'll miss another one, that's gonna be game over, so he'll definitely race in the final championship round in 2 weeks' time, as he goes into the arena section for the final time. 5 seconds on the clock. That's definitely gonna be the checkered flag. 1.3 seconds ahead of Jan Nims. I think he made a small mistake, so Jan Nims was just that tiny bit faster on the final lap. But that's not going to be enough to catch up with Matas Mendelis, who wins the second race of the fifth round in front of Jan Nims, and Simon Speth holds off.
Champion-elect Jan Nims, who takes second place and now guarantees himself the title in the World Sim Series Premium Sprint Challenge in 2024. So Jan Nims, another title on his bookshelf, as this is Flanagan on your screens. He's going to be one of the final few cars to cross the line here. Dacia will be the final car to cross the line, but a brilliant win by Matas Mendelis. He was very smart at the start of the race. He got the moves done. He got them done smart. He got them done in time, and he got that lead, and he didn't give it up since. So Dacia will finish in 12th. Krzyż retired from the race after that penalty, understandably, and that is your race result for the Premium Sprint Challenge. But don't worry, we'll be back soon with the Premium Endurance Challenge as well. Again, from the Hockenheimring, we'll have the GT Freeze and the M235is. It is another championship, potentially championship decider in the GT Free class, with Mendelis, O'Brien and Cortijo all still in the running. Grodinis as well still in the running. He's got quite a few cars still in the running for this championship, but Mendelis could win it here tonight, so don't go anywhere, and we'll see you, I think, in a couple of minutes time for the Premium Endurance Challenge race.
Yep, so roughly 4 minutes till the qualifying session will start, so we will leave you with some visuals. Stay tuned, and the penultimate round of the Endurance Championship will start shortly.
Welcome back to the track here at the Hockenheimring. It's the qualifying session, the end of the qualifying session for the Premium Endurance Challenge. Leo O'Brien is on provisional pole in GT3. Matas Mendelis just 0.6 of a second, 0.6 of a tenth behind, so 600ths of a second behind only. And these two, well, they're fighting for the championship. If Mendelis finishes ahead of O'Brien in this one, Mendelis will be champion. So this is a very, very crucial race for these two. For O'Brien, it's to stay in the fight. For Mendelis, it's to close the fight. So Mendelis coming out is on an out lap, so likely for his final run in this session. Jan Nims on a provisional pole in the M235i's. He's got a chance of winning this one tonight as well.
Yep, I was about to say the same thing. So Jan Nims battles Simon Speth in the championship in the M235i class, as Matas Mendelis fights with O'Brien, and Matas Mendelis managed to snatch that provisional pole position back from O'Brien. But all the drivers remain on the circuit, which will be the final, well, maybe the penultimate lap in this session, if the drivers have enough fuel on board and if the tires will last. Though the drivers are on softs, so that's not going to give them a lot of fast laps. But it's, well, if they will have the time to cross that line, they will have another chance to try and battle their rivals. But this is a really nice fight happening already in the qualifying session, and I'm pretty sure Leo O'Brien put a lot of hard work in preparation for this event. He knows that he needs to finish ahead of Matas Mendelis no matter what, try and keep that championship hope alive while we will head into the final race in 2 weeks' time. But we have to finish this one first. Just taking a close look at what the track will be for the finals. It's gonna be Imola racetrack in Italy in 2 weeks' time on the 10th of December. But the drivers have to deal with the Hockenheimring for now. O'Brien crossed the line. He did not go faster, but he stays on the racetrack. Not sure if there is still some lifespan in those tires. Matas Mendelis does not go faster, but look at the fastest car on the racetrack in the qualifying session of the GT3 class. That's Dominikas Graudinis, who took that provisional pole position with his final attempt and goes straight into the pit lane. There was not enough fuel in the car to try and go faster, but this is a really nice attempt. So if Mendelis and O'Brien battle for the final hundredths of the second, Graudinis managed to go 3.5 tenths faster than Matas Mendelis and 4 tenths faster than Lee O'Brien. A nice lap from the Lithuanian. And it looks like he came out of nowhere with such a lap time, 1 minute 40.3. Matas Mendelis will have a lot of work to do, and he bumps into a BMW. Well, I think he didn't lose too much time in this situation, but he definitely lost something. Went a little bit too deep into the Mercedes corner, and that's not going to help him with the lap. Went a little bit wide on the exit of turn 10. As he completes turn 11 and goes into the arena part of the track. Sachs corner. Another hairpin on the Hockenheimring, which has a very banked shape of the asphalt. The tires the front tires have a lot of grip entering that corner, but it's really easy to overshoot that. As Leo O'Brien is already back into the pit lane, so is Jan Nims in the M235i class. Matas Mendelis slows down.
No improvement from it, so it's going to be second place on the grid. Jan Nims, well, he's on pole in the M235i's unless Simon Speth can do anything about it, but I think he's on an out lap. For Jan Nims to win this one, it's a pretty simple equation. If he wins the race, he's champion. So Jan Nims could take 2 championships here, and he's guaranteed now to be on pole position. waiting for the start of this race. 45 minutes that can decide both championships here in the Premium Endurance Challenge. With one more round to go after this one, it's obviously going to decide the other places on the top. Well, all the other places, but the champions can be elected tonight.
Yep, so let's go through the qualifying session results one more time. Grudin is taking the pole position in the GT3 class. Mendelis will start second, O'Brien third, Essa fourth, Weisberg's fifth, and Flanagan sixth. Jan Nims took pole position, yet another pole position in the M235i class. Simon Speth will start alongside him, Abdelhadi and Rahmanian row 2, Lapo and Terciali row 3, and Ayordage will start on the final spot on the grid. This is gonna be a 45 minutes endurance type race because it has one mandatory pit stop for all of the drivers. They have the strategic side in this race, meaning that they can start off with lower fuel, softer tires, and come into the pit lane, take more fuel, take new tires, or they can start on harder tires like the medium ones with full tank of fuel and have a very short stop in the pit lane. So I think we have a couple of strategies here looking at the tires of the drivers as we are about to start the 5th round of the Premium Endurance Championship on the World Sim Series platform. Dominikas Graudinis with a very nice start. Matas Mendelis lines right behind him. And with those softs, I'm pretty sure Matas Mendelis will try and overtake Dominikas Graudinis as soon as he can. Already on a attack move into turn 2. Side by side goes around the outside, brakes much later because he's on those soft tires, runs a little bit deep, but I think that's going to be more than enough for Matas Mendelis to take that lead, and that's no surprise.
Hold on. He's going to have to hold on now down the back straight away as Graudinis goes to the outside. Well, it's the inside of the Parabolica, but now it's going to be the outside into the hairpin. Here comes O'Brien from behind. He wants to watch this. Maybe he can find a way to gain a place or two, and nope, not even one place gain. So Graudinis holds on to second as Speth has dropped down to third. Abdelhadi up into second in that M235i battle as O'Brien goes down the inside, still side by side with Graudinis. Graudinis wide, and it's O'Brien now up into second position. Both the championship leaders on the soft tires at the front of the field, and they'll be battling for that title. Well, bringing it to the next round or not bringing it to the next round. Here's Speth behind Abdelhadi. He's got Rahmanian behind him, so he's a bit of a sandwich between these two teal-colored cars. And very, very wide from Abdelhadi, and that is position gain for Simon Speth, but he needs to get closer to his teammate if he wants to take this championship to the final round in 2 weeks' time. But Abdelhadi, he's not only lost second, he lost third as well, down to fourth in the M235i's.
Yep, and it's gonna be really tight at the front of the GT3 class. Remember, these two drivers were really matching the pace of each other in the qualifying session, so it's up to the driver who will make least mistakes, and both of the cars running on the soft tires, meaning they have, well, they will try to be as fast as possible, but they have to look after the tires. The softs don't like a lot of sliding, a lot of scrubbing. They pick up the temperature easily, and the drivers will need to cool them down. So it's really a very intense race for both of the drivers to try and push to the maximum and avoid mistakes. Graudinis looking really strong in P3 with those mediums. He's not falling behind. Well, he dropped those 2 places, but he's virtually on a very different strategy, and I think he's still in the battle for the win in this race. Doesn't matter that he lost both of the places during the first lap. He's on harder rubber and definitely on a different strategy. Slides around a little bit, overshoots the 11th corner. and makes another mistake into turn 12. Runs a little bit wide around the banking, which is not the fastest way around that corner. And down a battle for P5, that's Essa versus Weisbergs. No more Jeff Gordon livery on that BMW for Essa. This is the old BMW Z4 GT3 car, which nowadays looks really interesting on our screens. Still a very nice machinery, as well as we wait for the refresher of the Assetto Corsa title. That should happen really shortly. It has been announced to see the light of the day at the beginning of next year. So new waves for the sim racing community ahead in the nearest future, as Rahmanian and Abdel Hadi try to battle it out for P3 in the M235i class. Looks like everyone is on mediums except for two GT3 class leaders. It's usually a very similar strategy in the M235i class during the championship races, but we see some different strategies in the GT3 class, which seems to be the case this afternoon also, with those two leading cars on a different tire compound for the start of the race. And Leo Bryan, he's not falling too far behind of Matas Mendelis. The gap is roughly 1.5 seconds. It's now down to 1.3 and actually 1.2 of a second. Matas Mendelis struggling a little bit. He was slightly faster on the previous lap, but definitely the beginning of this one was completed better by Leo Bryan. Gap went down from...
By the way, he has more ballast on his car as well, so could be a little bit more difficult for him in that sense. He's got about
45.
He's got 45, and Leo Bryan has less, about 20 kilos less.
Yep.
So.
Yep, Leo Bryan has 20 kilograms and Matas Mendelis has 45 kilograms of ballast, so that's a 25 kilograms difference. Roughly 20 liters of fuel.
Yep, and what's good for Mendelis is that they are both on the exact same strategy. So they're both on the soft tire. They both will have to change tires. I mean, I can't see that this tire going to the end. So this is good news for Mendelis. They've both went for the same strategy. Probably bad news for O'Brien. I think he would have maybe wanted to try something different, because finishing second here, that's not going to be good enough for him. If he finishes second, he cannot win the championship anymore. So he'll need to think of something. Maybe think of when does it make the most sense to make his pit stop.
Well, if he has the chance to decide that, because, well, starting on softs, I think that definitely means that the drivers have enough of fuel just for as long as those tires will last. So I don't think there's a lot of room for Leo Bryan to pick out his stopping lap. It might be different with the calculations from the beginning, but I'm not sure if he will have the ability to, let's say, try something opposite to his rival strategy. Maybe just coming to the pit lane slightly earlier and putting the medium tire on. Matas Mendelis makes a huge mistake into the hairpin. Locking up those softs, that's not going to help him with the further racing. That's not what you want to do at the beginning of the race. Remember, the tire wear is set to 200% in this championship, meaning every brake lock Here's the tires. While talking about the brake lock, I'm just caught myself here hanging. It's a GT3 car with ABS system. I don't think Matas Mendeles is driving without ABS, so maybe it's just a visual glitch of Assetto Corsa.
We've seen these kinds of glitches a couple of times, so I think that's probably the case here.
Yeah. So
as we're seeing the cars lock up when they really shouldn't be locking up. So I think it's just something visual in the simulator.
Yep, so he just simply went wide into the hairpin, which is not that big of a deal, and he still has a bigger gap. He was just a tiny bit slower on the previous lap. The gap is still 1.6 seconds, and it currently looks in that the race is definitely in the hands of Matas Mendeles. He's controlling it nicely, a lot of experience, and he's definitely not being too much pressurized from behind by Leo O'Brien. He's just concentrated on his work during this race. He knows what he needs to do to grab that championship, to come into the final race with much calmer state. Just have some fun. He needs to do that hard work now, and that's what he came here for. Maybe it's a slight surprise for him that Leo O'Brien chose exactly the same strategy, well, at least by the looks of it, looking at the tire choice, but he's still concentrated on the job that he needs to do, and he's currently delivering.
Yep, it's I'm not sure he's maybe surprised, but I'm sure he's happy that they've gone for the exact same tire choice. At least he doesn't really need to go crazy and doesn't need to find something. He knows that when he comes out of the pits, their pit stop time will be pretty much the same. But the the options that O'Brien has is obviously to undercut.
Yep, so he needs to
try and go early. It's obviously you'll have that tire warm-up phase, but I guess the bet here is that you get into more, a little bit better traffic, and just be offset to Mendeles. That is, I guess, his best bet here.
Yep. What about stopping slightly earlier and going for the mediums?
Yeah, I think that's the option here that he has, and I would say that it makes the. I mean, he has to try something. Grodin is behind. He's on the mediums. He's already 5 seconds behind. I don't think he's much of a threat. Even though the cars ahead will have to change tires.
That's gonna make a huge difference. Remember, that should be roughly 20 to 25 seconds difference.
Yeah, but I think they'll catch back up with a new set of tires. I don't really see the issue, because they've extended quite a big gap already in what is 10 minutes of this race. So I think you're looking at a difficult scenario here for Grodinis. In any case, for O'Brien, he has to risk something. I mean, the worst case scenario, he goes from second to third, which is about a 3-point difference, so it's not too bad. But if the gamble works, he might still be in the hunt for the championship come the final round of the season. And you never know, Mendeles could have an incident, could have a spin, and it could all kind of fall into the hands of O'Brien. If he plays his cards right here, he would still be in with an opportunity. Catching up this lap is O'Brien, definitely. Gap down to 2.2 now. So maybe Mendeles losing a bit of tires, a little bit of tire wear. So could be that he's coming up to the edge of those soft tires with how much fuel, with how much weight, BOB weight he has inside the car. So still one to watch, but I think if O'Brien doesn't start catching up soon, he'll have to think of some alternative here. This is Rachmanian on your screens, and this is a battle for, well, really it's a battle for third, with Abdelhadi ahead. 1.4 ahead is Abdelhadi, ahead of Rachmanian, then Lapo 0.9 behind, and then 0.9 behind is Tarchali as well. But Jan Nims hasn't run away as much as I spot. He might. He's only 2.7 ahead of Speff. This is Essa on Flanagan into the braking zone of the hairpin and gets the move done. Up into 4th goes Essa.
Yep, this is a battle happening the previous 12 or so minutes. These two drivers were pretty close to each other. It looks like Essa finds some more pace on the previous lap. He just completed his personal fastest lap time as both of the cars run wide through that curb, and it sends Flanagan into the air.
Much worse for Flanagan as he caught up onto that. Oh, it looks like a sausage curb almost, and the car was thrown right up into the air. So Flanagan coming out worse of that of these two. So that's actually increasing his gap, but yeah, not something you want to do every single lap of the race.
Yep. So still, as we have completed 8 laps, I believe. The softs are looking a little bit stronger than the mediums at this stage of the race. Grodin is 9 seconds behind Matas Mendelis. We've completed 15 minutes. I personally think he's still at least a slight threat for Matas Mendelis and O'Brien, if he's definitely on the very opposite strategy with no changing of the tires and no fuel added to his race car. Basically, if he's on the splash and dash strategy, I think currently at this stage he's still somewhere around in the battle for the win of this race, as O'Brien manages to cut down the gap to Matas Mendelis as we find the leaders in the traffic. That's Lee O'Brien, I think, against Abdelhadi. No, it was Rahmanian. Abdelhadi is the next car for... Oh, and Abdelhadi just received a drive-through penalty for cutting a track, so the drivers need to be really careful with the limits of this circuit. It looks like they are not that comfortable, as Matas Mendelis extended the gap back to 2 seconds, so definitely lost time in that traffic, as Lee O'Brien did. Mendelis overtaking Simon Speth. That's done much easier, as it was when the drivers were running the same cars in the previous championship in the sprint series. Oh, and slight contact between O'Brien and Simon Speth. Looks like Matas Mendelis lost a little bit more time in that traffic, managed to overtake Jan Nemts and was released into fresh air. So 29 minutes till the end of this race, meaning that we are roughly 4 minutes from the half time of this race. Maybe a little bit more, maybe 6 minutes from the half time. So roughly 3 laps remain for the drivers, both for Matas Mendelis and O'Brien, to start at least thinking about that mandatory pit stop, which they chose. And that's when we might see a difference in the strategy by the drivers. Look at Grodinis. He gained the most in the battle in this situation with the traffic. Gap went down from 9 seconds to 8.5. It has just extended again. Oh, and again, too deep into that hairpin. He needs to battle with that BMW M235i car, as Matas Mendelis continues to lose a little bit more time. It's now down to 1.5, so Lee O'Brien is also right there on the tail. He needs to think something, but he's running out of time to think about a, well, opposite strategy, because he's almost well, they will definitely hit the limits of the soft tires shortly.
I mean, knowing they don't have tire warmers, you might think of an overcut here as well. Try to get track position and then somehow hold on with cold tires, but maybe none of them want to be the first to try and make a stop. Somebody getting a...
Abdelhadi, that's Abdelhadi completing his drive-through penalty, which, yeah, he received a couple of laps before. But Yeah, these two drivers are putting a really nice battle on the screens for the viewers, and I'm pretty sure Grodinis is still right about there in that battle. It's only 8.7 seconds with 27 minutes on the clock. If there's definitely a 20 or 25 seconds difference with that opposite strategy, he's still a really... he's one of the main players here to take that win. And what about if Grodinis wins this race and Mendelis finishes second and O'Brien third? Will Mendelis still get that crown?
If Mendelis finishes second,
yeah. So that's
and
gonna
O'Brien
be
third.
Yep.
Yes.
So that's gonna be
championship.
Okay. So 3 points is enough.
He needs to finish ahead, or he needs to. Well, he's at the moment he's 2 points ahead coming into this race. Sorry, he's 27 points ahead.
Okay.
So 2 points over the mark. So he needs to not lose more than 2 points.
Okay, so basically it's still the race between Mendelis and O'Brien in the championship. So O'Brien needs to finish ahead of Matas Mendelis to keep those championship hopes alive, and he's close. He's getting closer actually, so it looks like his tires last a little bit better. Leo O'Brien, maybe he managed to save those tires a little bit more precisely, as we will shortly complete the 20 minutes mark. Matas Mendelis goes wide again, but he managed to open up the gap a little bit more to 1.3 seconds. Maybe something's going through the minds of the drivers now, thinking about the strategy. Well, it's a little bit too early to go into the pit stop if you want to get back on the softs. It's usually, well, the drivers should prefer usually to have the longer first stint. That will be a little bit more comfortable for the drivers to finish off this race while with having the better tires towards the end if you need to battle someone. But maybe now it's still some time for one of the drivers to think something different, maybe come into compromise with the strategy. It's not happening. Both of the cars remain on the racetrack, as they really prove that they still have pace on those softs. Mendelis managed to put in a very nice lap, 1 minute 41.7, as the lap time of Dominikas Grodinis is 1 minute 42.5, so he's still slightly slower.
I guess the idea is going soft to the end here.
Definitely, that's... Oh, Matas Mendelis almost onto the grass.
Pushing.
That's how much he's hard pushing. I think these are the crucial laps for Matas Mendelis. He tries to run all the remaining juice of the rubber in his BMW and still doesn't manage to create a huge gap between himself and Leo O'Brien. Nice entry into the hairpin by both of the drivers, actually. Leo O'Brien, 1.5 seconds. He's still there. He's still hanging on. But if he'll remain on a identical strategy as his main rival, that's going to be really difficult for him to figure out something in this race to take that checkered flag ahead of Matas Mendelis. 23.2 seconds. Is this going to be the lap where we will see the drivers heading into the pit lane? Well, I'm talking about Mendelis and O'Brien. One of them should definitely go into the pit lane after the 15th corner. The entry is in between turns 15 and 16, and Matas Mendelis goes into the pit lane. O'Brien follows him. Both of the drivers didn't figure it something interesting, and I think during the pit stop we can have the opportunity to try and speak with one of the drivers who is currently in the pit lane. Matas Mendelis, you are on live air.
Hello.
Yep. Hi. Sorry to interrupt you in this really difficult race. First question: why didn't you think about a maybe different strategy from Leo O'Brien? Both of you are on the same strategy, so do you think he's a big threat for you now, or you are relaxed?
Well, we're gonna see here. Got a bad start. complete exit.
I think we will leave you to battle it out, but it was a better pit stop by Leo O'Brien. Talk to you later and have a good fight.
Yeah, he had a good entry to the pit stop. Hopefully he can make some mistakes on cold tires.
Okay.
But we were catching some lower class cars in front. So probably if I stayed out, I would have got some that lap and he would have overtook me on the pits. Let's see.
Okay. Yeah, so we thought that it was a really nice idea to catch up with Matas Mendeles as he was making his pit stop, but well, he has lost it out on the exit, as he mentioned by himself. It was due to a very bad entry into the pit lane. Leo O'Brien managed to make a really much better entry to the pits, and that's where he lost that. Now look at the gap between Graudinis, O'Brien and Mendeles. This is 27 seconds. So Graudinis will definitely have to go into the pit lane again, well, for his mandatory pit stop. He will lose some time, but that's gonna be close, I believe, because he's gonna do that splash and dash strategy.
Yep, so it's going to be close, but it's all about these two. These two are the ones who are actually, and this might actually go in favor of Graudinis if these two start battling as the tires come up to temperature, slowly, but both on the softs. So both again choosing the exact same strategy. O'Brien defends the inside, Mendeles goes to the outside and tries a nice switchback on the exit here. Can't really do it as he'd be on the outside on the run through. Now will be a chance to do something into the hairpin. Where will Mendeles decide to go? He goes to the outside as O'Brien keeps to the inside line into the hairpin. O'Brien actually loses the position even before the braking zone. He tries something on the outside, but doesn't happen. Mendeles big slide and loses the position once again. He didn't need to do that. Just clipped that curb, sent the car flying just a little bit, and Leo O'Brien back up into second place and back up into taking this championship to the final round.
Wow, you couldn't expect more from the from the penultimate round of the championship. It looked already Matas Mendeles had the position, but he was a little bit too tight into that corner. He didn't expect that curve to be that bitey, if I can say that. But he clipped that with his rear wheel, and now he's braking really late into turn 12. I don't know if that's his braking point or he's getting a little bit more frustrated. Well, the least he can do now is get on fire in his head. Both of the cars are a new set of soft tires, but they have to think about the longevity of the tires. Well, they should last safely till the finish, but if the drivers will not abuse them too much, it still goes into the account from the driver's driving style. But yeah, Matas Mendeles has already made that move. He knows that he can do it again, but he needs to stay calm. He doesn't need to do too many moves. Try to think about the tires. Still 18 minutes till the finish line, and we are still not sure if this is a battle for the win, or does Graudinis has enough of lead. His pace looks to have dropped slightly. It's 43.1. and he should stay on the same tires for the remaining of the race. So that might also be really tough for Dominikas Graudinis to stay on that pace, and he's always a little bit too wide into that 12th corner. That's a really different line from what we've seen from other drivers, but it looks like it works for Dominikas Graudinis as he continues to lead the GT3 class in the 5th round. He's not in contention in the championship. He didn't drive in all the races previously. But it looks like all the drivers didn't start 4 races. So, well, basically he's on the same count of races as the other drivers as he runs wide through turns 3 and 4. He's currently 4th in the championship standings with 37 points in account, so it looks like he is battling. Well, he actually can battle for P2 in the championship. If he manages to win this one, he would come out with a healthy amount of points. So Dominykas Graudinis, well, needs a clear head and a strategic mind. He still has the chance to finish off this championship in P2 as these two continue their big battle. Look at
Mendelis again, he gets it done because he's taking that tighter line. He's doing less distance. Hopefully he's not on that curb again. This time gets it done, and I think that might just be game over for Lee O'Brien. Mendelis looking quicker unless the tides change again as they head to the end of the stint like it did in the first stint of the race, where Mendelis lost a little bit of time towards the end. But I think now it's going to be about him holding on, but he did look quicker all the way through this race pretty much. So
well, you have a really good point. He did look slightly slower towards the end of the first stint, and that might be due to different setups for the cars. Remember, this is an open setup championship in the GT3 class. So well, they can be on a different balance at this moment, at this stage of the second stint, but that might change towards the end of the race. And this time, Lee O'Brien is much closer to Matas Mendelis. If he'll be able to keep up with Matas Mendelis within 1 second, who knows, he still might have a chance to take the checkered flag in this race, as we see Dominykas Graudinis still remaining on the racetrack, and I'm pretty sure he will try to bring it down towards the final minutes of this race to just have a really short splash and dash pit stop in the final runs, in the final laps of this race, as these two should remain one behind each other through the remaining 15 minutes. And look, as soon as Matas Mendelis got in front of Lee O'Brien, he's not creating that bigger gap anymore. It stays within half a second. Both of the drivers running a little bit deep into that hairpin. Looks like Matas Mendelis did a slightly better job. He gained roughly 1/10 through that corner, but Lee O'Brien holding on really strongly, creating that battle, and he will definitely try to bring it towards the end of this race. I think Lee O'Brien knows that he might have a chance towards the end of this one, because he has seen the pace drop by Matas Mendelis a little bit more than on his car as we approach the traffic again. And this time it's not only a BMW M235i car, is that Yuri Lapo. It is. He tried to be really careful as Dominykas Graudinis enters the pit lane. Do you remember one race where Dominykas Graudinis looked to be the winner, the overall winner of the race, and he had a really bad strategy? And I think this is something similar again. No, it was a short splash and dash.
No, short splash and dash. Very good strategy this time.
Yep.
Now, he's on a warm set of tires. Crucially, he's on a warm set of tires. It's a 7-second gap for Mendelis, but it's not the end of the world if he doesn't catch up either. He just needs to stay ahead of O'Brien, as that's a lap car in front. And Mendelis gets that move done. That's Essa right in between these two. O'Brien's still close, but I don't think he's close enough to make a move.
Well, not on this lap, but it looks like Matas Mendelis starts to struggle a little bit more. Look at the gap. Okay, Lee O'Brien just lost out in that hairpin. Maybe Matas lost a little bit more in the battle with the lapped GT3 car, but look at the gap that Dominykas Graudinis has currently it's 6.4 seconds. He will be definitely slower than these two, 141.4 and 141.5. Dominykas will not go faster than 1 minute 42, definitely, because, well, he couldn't do that on those tires, and nothing changed during the pit stop. Matas Mendelis runs a little bit too deep into turn 12. Nothing too dramatic as he goes and hits the traffic again. That's gonna be tight, but it looks like he made it through safely. Leo Bryan into the inside of turn 16.
Gets that move done as well. So lucky to be able to do it behind Mendeles. I thought he was going to get stuck. That would have cost him a lot of time. But catching up, and catching up quick, is Mendeles to the back of Grodinis. Only 5.5 that gap now. And, well, Grodinis, most likely he didn't refuel. So he's still running down that tank of fuel. He's most likely, well, he's still on the same set of tires. So tires going off, fuel coming out, so I think his pace is going to stay quite stable. At least he hopes for sure that he's able to keep that pace stable and the tires are not going to fall off a cliff. So we'll see if Mendeles can catch up, and Mendeles is going to hope his tires don't fall off a cliff as well, because he's on the edge also. On those soft tires, they wear out quick.
Oh, traffic again for Matas Mendeles in a very unfortunate situation, and it was not the best part on the racetrack to gain on that BMW M235i car, but it looks like he managed to control that situation pretty neatly, and the gap is already down to 4.5 seconds between himself and Dominykas Grodinis, as we have another bunch of BMWs dealing with racetracks. One car was off it. For a short moment of time, Matas Mendeles managed to get into the inside of the corner without losing too much time. Look at the gap disappearing. It's already down to 3 seconds. I think Dominykas Grodinis is struggling pretty badly as we try to catch him on the racetrack with 10 minutes to go and only 3 seconds separating P1 and P2. I think that's, well, P1 done for Dominykas. He will not be able to hold on to it. Looking at the pace, it's 1 minute 44.1 versus 1 minute 41.8. Wow, that's almost, well, that's 2.3 seconds difference per one lap. And this is too huge for Grodinis to try and stay in front of those two striking cars from behind. Cloud of smoke coming off those tires. I'm pretty sure now this is just a graphic glitch from AC title. There should be no smoke during braking in a GT3 car, which is with an ABS system installed, as Dominykas Grodinis tries his best to stay on the track and be as fast as possible, but that's gonna be a really hard task, and well, I think there's nothing that Dominykas Grodinis will be able to do to defend against Matas Mendeles and O'Brien, as Matas Mendeles found a better pace throughout this lap. By the looks of it, the gap is up to 2.2 seconds between himself and O'Brien. But it's, well, now down to the battle between Matas Mendeles and Dominykas Grodinis. Leo O'Brien, well, he should have kept a little bit closer to Matas Mendeles, because as soon as Matas Mendeles will gain on Grodinis, that's not going to be a battle with a lapped car. This is going to be a battle for the lead. And Dominykas Grodinis might have something in his mind. It's only 8 minutes on the clock, and there should be, well, it should be roughly 8 minutes on the clock as soon as these two drivers will meet each other on the racetrack, as Grodinis runs into the back end of, I think it was Jan Nimts, no, it was Simon Speth. So Jan Nimts is still ahead of both, of three of the GT3 drivers.
Yeah, but Grodinis, well, I have no clue what he'll need to do here to hold on, because he's really struggling. He's going about 1.5 seconds slower per lap compared to Mendeles. He wasn't as aggressive through the traffic. That's where he lost a lot of the time. I really can't see him holding on here. He'd have to pull out something incredible, and clearly he's struggling with grip, and I think he's going to have to relegate himself back down to third, which isn't a bad position to be in, but and it's good that he tried something, but clearly the tires have gone off the cliff. I think maybe a little bit more tire wear around here at Hockenheim, and that's why
runs wide, opens the door.
Mendelis trying. He's taking that risk. He's trying to be early on the move. A little bit of a touch, goes wide.
This is the chance for O'Brien. Well,
no, he's very far away.
Yeah, still, he can gain on these two cars. Look, 2.2 went down to 1.3 seconds, and Matas Mendelis is still behind Dominikas Graudinis. So that's basically the biggest chance for Lee O'Brien to try and get that position away from Matas Mendelis in this stage of the race. Though I'm not sure why did he lose so much time, as he seemed to be much faster in the first stage of this race, in the first stint of this race, compared to Matas Mendelis.
It's the tires. O'Brien, you mean, lost so much time.
Yep,
it looks like Mendelis is a lot more comfortable. I mean, the lap times he's been setting, it looks like maybe he's kind of found his groove, found his pace, and that's why he's running a little bit quicker.
Oh,
There's
again.
a chance maybe, but again, Mendelis trying something and really not working out. He's been a little bit desperate here to make that move. And Graudinis, I mean, he didn't really defend anywhere. He's just driving his race, and Mendelis trying to overtake quickly has actually cost himself time. And now has definitely brought O'Brien back into the mix. He needs to make the move, but he needs to make it smart. And not take any more unnecessary risks and make any more unnecessary mistakes.
Here we go,
and he goes to the inside. Was that contact? I'm not sure, but Mendelis up into the lead of the race and lets him go because I think there was contact. This is a chance for O'Brien down the inside. Will he make it stick? No, he doesn't. I think Mendelis made contact and let Graudinis back through.
Yeah, that's what it looked like from the outside, well, at least from the perspective of Lee O'Brien. Now, Lee O'Brien has the best chance of this evening to take that spot away of Matas Mendelis, and this all has to do with the battle for the overall championship in this series. So Lee O'Brien needs to be cautious. It's still not over. It's still not done. 5 minutes on the clock. Graudinis not giving up, slowing both of the faster cars behind him down. As we approach the hairpin corner, the best chance for Matas Mendelis to try and make it work, but Dominikas Graudinis making a really good exit out of turn 2. Keeping up with that speed. Remember, Matas Mendelis was constantly much faster than Lee O'Brien down that main straight, but he's not faster than Dominikas Graudinis on a much older and harder tire. And remember, the battles on the softs, these harsh battles, they definitely put up the temperature, and that makes the performance of the tires much worse when the driver is abusing the tires so badly. So Matas Mendelis might also be dealing with the temperature problems on his softs while he continues that battle with Dominikas Graudinis. Dominikas Graudinis actually running a phenomenal race. Both of us thought that it's gonna be long over because he was at least 1.5 seconds per lap slower than the cars on softs. But he's still there and holding on. Matas Mendelis somehow managed to keep in front of Lee O'Brien on the previous lap, but he's not too far away. As we join the pit lane for a very calm moment, Matas Mendelis still behind Graudinis, O'Brien still behind Matas, as these three cars attack turns 2, 3, and 4. As we will head out to the longest straight of the circuit. Matas Mendelis right on the tail of Dominikas Graudinis. Dominikas, he's much better on the exit than Lee O'Brien was onto that straight. And Matas Mendelis, that's a risky move on the outside. Lee O'Brien is a little bit further behind, so could at least save. Is it safe enough?
Mendelis tries to really outbrake Graudinis there, and I think he's just about done it. He's still there, and I think he's finally got that position. And unless Graudinis fights back, and I think he will into Mercedes, as Graudinis goes down to the inside, tries to make that move. This is going to be perfect for Lee O'Brien, who runs into the back of Graudinis. That's how he loses that position again to Mendelis, who, well, he was caught napping, really. He let Graudinis go down the inside. He didn't defend it enough. And Grodin is back up into the lead of the race. I said it was going to take something special for him to hold on to the lead. This is something special to the inside. Tried going Leo Bryan. Touch, another touch. And, oh, Grodin is off. Leo Bryan back into the lead of the, into the lead of the race. Grodin is off. And Mendeles, he's down in second. He's now going to have to pull something out to get back past Leo Bryan. And there's not much of this race to go.
2 laps.
And 2 laps to go in this one. I think Rodinis is now out of the equation. He's definitely slower than these two. Now it's a straight fight between these two. Who is the championship going to go to the next round, or is it going to be settled here? Well,
And
it will all...
Yeah.
Yep.
It actually can be the final lap. It all depends on Leo Bryan and how fast can he go around the corners. Maybe he can think about a strategy of holding on Matas Mendeles slightly, because the time when the drivers crossed the line, it was roughly 1 minute and 45 seconds on the clock. So looking at the previous lap, it's 1 minute 44, 1 minute 45. The drivers on normal pace do a lap in 1 minute 41, but well, if these two get into some sort of a battle, a big battle as we've seen on the previous lap, it might be the end of this one. Well, it looks like Leo Bryan just tries to put the best performance of his life, and that might still be the penultimate lap of this race. That's going to be really tight as Matas Mendeles tries to chase down Leo Bryan. But that's unfortunate for Matas Mendeles. It was nothing wrong that he has done, and well, to my point of view, Dominikas Grodinis, well, he kind of forced another driver off the racetrack with that late move into the Mercedes corner on the previous lap, which escalated the situation even further, and that allowed Leo Bryan to get in front. But I would say it was not the nicest move by Dominikas Grodinis while trying to get back into that lead. As, yep, we start the final lap with Leo Bryan in front, and look at the gap, look at the pace. Leo Bryan looks like he has the pace, and that might be all related with the setup of the cars, and that's gonna bring a lot of excitement into the final race, into the final round of this championship, if Leo Bryan will manage to hold on to that P1 against Matas Mendeles. And he will have 7 points. He will receive 7 points more than Matas Mendeles, so that's gonna be a 20 points difference between the drivers. While we will head out into the final round,
It's still a massive difference for
it
sure.
is.
I mean,
Yep.
it would take a miracle for him to win the championship, but everything's possible. And if Mendeles can't get a move done, and he's still got, say, 2 more chances, but he gets a big slide, and I think that's gonna be game over here for Mendeles. I don't think he can still get past unless O'Brien makes some kind of a mistake, but there's a little bit of traffic. This might decide the end of the race here. Can that traffic have any effect? I think it's gonna move. Yep, it does. Just completely move out of the way and robs us of any more action into this final turn. Mendeles super close, but it's not going to be enough. Leo Bryan takes the win and continues the championship for 1 more round. We'll see the championship go down in Imola, but another championship that will be decided is the M235i class, as Jan Nims should take that championship title here tonight. 2 championship titles here tonight, the sprint and the endurance. Both of these will go the way of Jan Nims. Well, not really a surprise that Jan Nims wins a championship on World Sim Series, but he's now won 2 championships in one evening.
Yep, I'm pretty sure Jan Nims is used to situations like these. This is not going to be the first championship win for Jan Nims. Remember, we've seen the trophy collection of Jan Nims on the World Sim Series platform, and there will be 2 more trophies added to that list for the German driver who continues to dominate on the virtual racetracks, at least on the a World Sim Series platform, but he's a really well-known German driver who takes the checkered flag and hits the wall hard. I think this is the way that the German drivers celebrate their wins. Look at Rahmanian. He will finish second. Simon Speth, did he take a drive-through penalty? Well, he went into the pit lane on the penultimate lap of the race, which was the second pit stop by Simon Speth. Wow, this is definitely a scenario we hadn't thought of. Simon Speth lost P2, so that's even an easier win of the championship for Simon Speth. Okay, so we tried to speak with Matas Mendelis while he was on the racetrack during his pit stop as he was released on the racetrack behind Lee O'Brien. I think this is a very calm moment to catch up with the driver who has just lost the race or finished second. So Matas Mendelis, are you with us? I think not. We have Matas Mendelis with
maybe
us, but
I should be here.
oh yeah, so Matas Mendel is here. I think you had to take a moment to relax. What are your feelings after such a finish for the fifth round?
Well, for sure I'm not relaxed. My fingers are a bit shaky right now, but yeah, it was intense. I don't know what happened to Grodinis in the second to last lap. He almost spun in front. I couldn't do anything. Then O'Brien went through and I saw 2 laps to go and 08 seconds, and I thought, oh, that's gonna be hard. Almost had him. If I hadn't run a little bit wide on the fake grass on the last corner, second to last lap, I might have caught him on a back straight, but it was close nonetheless. Yeah, I was also happy over to Grodinis on the outside, and I thought, all right, that's a move done. And then he went to the inside Max Verstappen style, first to the apex. Yeah, I just went completely then on the, again, the same slippery fake grass, and had to let him by again. I don't know, then it was a lot of bumps, but I think we kept it clean, kept it within regulations. Just a shame I couldn't catch O'Brien, but O'Brien was driving very well. I don't know who has a faster lap time. I do a little bit faster lap time, but he was just with 2 seconds and multi-class racing, it's always how you catch the traffic. It's not much, but it was fun racing today.
You were both on identical strategy. Do you think the way you have set up your cars have differed slightly? Because, well, during the first stint, at the beginning, it looked like you were faster, but towards the end of the first stint, Lee O'Brien was able to catch up with you. Did it have something to do with tires setup or maybe the traffic? What was the reason for you to lose a little bit of time? And was that a similar case towards the end of the second stint?
Well, 1 second was due to my few mistakes, and then another second or so was due to traffic. I caught I think, a SPEF or a NIMS, I'm not sure, on the first corner, so I just backed out of it, braked like 50 meters too early, so I can get on a power on the apex, but I still lost like half a second in one overtake. But it's partly traffic, partly my small mistakes. The corner after the long straight, it's the slowest corner. That's a tricky one. I saw everyone struggling there, as well as myself and O'Brien. We would come in on the straight about, let's say, 1.8 seconds, and then leave with 0.2 seconds gap variable almost every lap, because it's so hard to get that braking point on point when you're moving so fast. So mistakes.
Okay. Anyways, it was definitely a very great race, not only for you guys, but for the viewers. And that means that the battle for the championship will head over to the final round of this championship with you still comfortably in the lead. To our calculations, you should have 20 points lead into the final race. So that should be a really home race in this championship, but still, the championship crown has to wait a little bit longer. So, good luck with.
I was also thinking about the championship. Wasn't doing too desperate. I knew if I was second, or more or less Leo Bryan was somewhere around, it wouldn't matter too much as long as we finish somewhere close. So second place, but it's still not too bad. And yeah, as well looking forward for the Daytona 24 hours. I really like those LMP3 prototypes, racing in multi-class 1 hour championship with them. So very happy to try. We'll be able to try them out in 24-hour race.
Okay, that's gonna take place next year, January. What's the date?
I think January 11th.
Okay, so everyone who's still with us, you just heard about the next special event on the World Sim Series platform, the famous Daytona 24 hours race this time. I think it was 12 hours this year. It's going to be 24 hours the next, as soon as we start the 2025 year. We will have this very big event, and everyone is welcome to join. You just have to go over to the World Sim Series platform, which finds itself under the worldsimseries.com address. You can find all the needed information and work towards your license if any is needed. So yeah, I cannot say congratulations for Matas Mendelis by clinching the championship. You will still have to wait another 2 weeks to do that, but I'm pretty sure that's not going to be the hardest part. Have a good rest. Thanks for your nice comments, and maybe hear you in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, thank you and goodbye.
Yep, so that was Matas Mendelis, who was looking really strong this afternoon, but couldn't make it at the end. Race Control will definitely have a good look at all the action that has happened on the racetrack. The results are still provisional. Congratulations to Jan Nims by clinching the M235i championship. By the way, we didn't go through the results. So O'Brien finished ahead of Mendelis and Grodinis. Weisbergs finished 4th, Flangen finished 5th, and Essa finished 6th in the GT3 class. And Nims finished ahead of Rahmanian with Simon Speth, who had to go into the pit lane on the penultimate lap. Terchali finished 4th, Abdelhari 5th, Lapo 6th, and Ayordage 7th. These are your overall results of the penultimate round. The final round will take place in 2 weeks at the famous Imola racetrack in Italy. So, see you then, and go over to the World Sim Series to find more information about the Daytona 24 Hours event in January. Take care.